Hello and welcome to Tiny Desk Knitting with Emma. I am finally back in Baltimore. I feel like I was gone for about 6 years, but actually I was just gone for like just under 2 weeks. So I had a good trip. I want to say good trips because I went to multiple places, but it was just one like big huge circle. So a couple weeks ago I went up to Canada to see my aunt and uncle at their lake house, which is super nice, very remote, really just like peaceful. And we had a great time. Ian, my brother, came for a couple of days as well, which was really nice. And so we had a nice peaceful time, did a lot of knitting, watched a lot of Olympics, and you know, went swimming. My aunt and I went running, which was great. And then so my parents' dog Hobbs, who you've probably seen before if you followed my channel, Hobbs shredded one of his ACLs and he had to have surgery. That's literally what the vet said. He was like, oh yeah, that's a shredded ACL. Poor Hobbs. It's like a routine thing apparently that happens to dogs. So Hobbs had his knee basically rebuilt like the Thursday of that week. And my brother had just left and he's going to grad school. He left the state of Vermont. He came to Canada like on the way to Colorado where he's moving. But he had left and my parents were kind of like bummed a little bit. I just assumed that they were bummed and like Hobbs had surgery. And so, you know, my dad has like chronic fatigue. And so like, I don't know, I just was like, I'll just go home. Cause like, I'll just stay. I don't have to go back until like next Sunday. So I went back to Vermont last weekend and I stayed for a week. And that was also really nice. Like it just was not that hot. And I could work remotely there. So that was great. It was really, again, peaceful, but like a little bit less peaceful, which is good. I was with my parents and I really like them, and Hobbs, poor Hobbs, he was just like so drugged up and he so cute. My mom takes him for walks in a stroller. And she pushes a dog in a stroller, like a baby stroller, and she has these hot pink running shoes that I gave to her because they didn't work for me. And her like walking Hokas that she'd had for like 6 years just like completely blew out, like the sole came off of the body. And I was like, I have a fix for you. She like tried on a pair of my running shoes that were sort of similar and was like, oh, I love these. And I was like, cool, I'll send you a pair that I don't like, and they're hot pink. So she's this like crazy person with hot pink shoes who walks a dog in a stroller. She's not crazy, but everybody like, she's very memorable. But Hobbs loves the stroller and he's getting better. He's very good on 3 legs, but he has to be off of his leg for a long time, like 10 weeks or something. I mean, like he can't be unsupervised in the backyard, for instance, for like 10 weeks or something. So he should be back to normal then. And hopefully his other knee will last a good long time, but apparently it's very likely that the other one will also need to be replaced at some point, which is a bummer. But yeah, he's like 7, he's turning 8 this year in November. So yeah, he's not old, but he's like middle-aged. So, you know, people need their joints replaced too. So he's okay, but I went home. And I didn't record there because I was just trying to like chill. Also, I started marathon training last week. So I had like taken a couple of cutback weeks after my base build. And then I started like with my, you know, like 30 miles a week, is kind of where my plan starts. And that was last week. And so I was pretty tired. So, yeah, I just kind of have to ease into like doing speed sessions and your progressive like long runs and stuff. So 15 more weeks and then I will be running the Philadelphia Marathon. Super fun. But yeah, I got a lot of work done on a lot of whips and finished some things. And so I will share them with you. The first thing though, before I forget, the green sweater that I was working on for a long time, the yarn's not easily accessible. Otherwise I would pull it out. It was like a bright green cardigan, with 2 little cables down the front. I made it for this woman at my church named Tina. And I finally like blocked it, got it done. And I brought it to church a couple weeks ago and Tina wasn't there, which is normal because people go on vacation in the summer. So I just left it and I said, Monica, can you just give this to Tina next time, you know, she's around, because she lives like right behind the church. So Monica gave it to Tina and she sent me a picture of Tina wearing it. She was so happy and I would show it to you, but I didn't ask Tina for permission. But then Tina was at church today and she was wearing the sweater, which surprised me because it was 85 degrees, but in the church, it's not like that warm. So she was like, I'm going to wear it every day. I love it. And I thought that was so great. So Tina loves her sweater. So I just wanted to tell you all that because it made me happy to see her wearing it. Okay. So the main thing that I really wanted to do while I was gone was to make some progress on my Fair Isle sweater. And I did. So I'd already knitted like a lot of the body, basically almost all the way to the arm size split. But I just needed like some time to just kind of like get into it. Because when I get into it, I can get a pretty good amount of it done. Like I'm pretty quick with Fair Isle. So I can make a lot of progress if I'm like focusing on it. But I hadn't been for a long time. So I was like, I just need some like uninterrupted time. So I am almost done with the whole body now, which is really exciting. Fun fact, I got way more balls of yarn than I needed for the sweater. I probably needed like max 2 balls of each thing. And I have like 4 to 5 balls of a lot of, there's 2 of a couple of them, but I'm like, oh wow, I will have a lot of leftovers. So there will be a lot of teal and blue Fair Isle in my future, which is great. They're my 2 favorite colors. So yeah, it's almost done. So this is where the V-neck starts and the armholes start. So good, like it's gonna be plenty long. This is what it looks like. Yay, fun. I haven't blocked any of it yet, but when I finish the body, I will be blocking it. So yeah, it just needs like, probably need to finish this band and then do 1 more of these bands and then it will be done. I'm very excited. So yeah, I got just kind of like had a lot of time to kind of do this. I've said kind of a lot. I have had a lot of time to work on this in the last couple of weeks. And now that I'm just kind of cruising on it, said kind of again, wow. You know, when you notice you're saying something and you can't stop saying it. Yeah, so goal for this next couple days, I guess, next few days is to finish the body, which isn't too tall of an order, honestly. I could probably do it in an evening if I knit really a lot, but it'll probably take me a couple evenings. But yeah, so I'm going to Seattle on Friday because my cousin is getting married next weekend, which is really exciting. And I'm really excited to see the rest of my extended family because I got to see my aunt and uncle, and obviously my parents and Ian, my brother, like all in the past weekish, but I haven't seen a lot of my cousins in a while, so that'll be nice. And yeah, so that'll be fun. And I would like to have the body of this done before I go so that I can wash this before I leave and leave it to block. Like needle felt the steeks, or maybe not. Maybe I'll do that when I'm done. When it's done drying, it doesn't really matter because it'll block again. Needle felt the steeks, ideally needle felt them, then wash, then lay it to dry, and it can dry while I'm gone for like the 4 days that I'm gone. And then I will do the V-neck, you know, like pick up the stitches along the V-neck and knit that, and then I will knit the sleeves. So yeah, once the body is done, that's about 2/3 of the knitting with Fair Isle. It's more motivating to do the sleeves. Although I say that, and then the like Hilda jumper that I knitted a couple years ago, because I messed up one of the sleeves and it was way too big, I didn't do enough decreases. That was very disheartening, and I had to like unravel it and do it again. So that one took a while, but I think that was more the error that I made rather than the fact that I had to knit sleeves, because I could knit sleeves in the round. I was planning on knitting the sleeves from the bottom up and doing a sleeve cap, but then I got to the body and arm size split on this, and I realized I didn't have a Marie Wallin book to like follow the directions on how to shape the bodice, and I was like, I'm not gonna freehand that one. But I was like, I know how to freehand a plain Fair Isle sweater that has drop shoulders, and by plain I mean one that doesn't have complicated sleeve shaping where you just pick up the sleeves and just knit down. I was like, I know how to do that, trust myself. I also had access to some patterns in my digital library that I was like, just to check, like, how many decreases should I do at the underarms, just to make sure. I had some spidey senses, but I checked and I was right. I was like, oh, good, that's cool. Nice to know. So, yeah, that would be good to have that done this week. But I'm like, right now, I'm finally at a point where I'm not overwhelmed by my whips, and I'm kind of like, how did that happen? That's amazing. So this is like the one kind of big thing that I'm working on, like more difficult thing, I guess, thing that's not like, takes a little bit of brain power to be like, okay, I'm gonna pick that up and like knit a few rounds, because it's, it actually isn't like, I like Fair Isle and Colorworks so much that it isn't that like shouldn't be that mentally taxing, because the rounds are so long. It kind of is just, but like, again, like I said, once I kind of get going on it, it just becomes a little bit more automatic and it's easy to pick it up. And so I'm hoping to just kind of like ride that wave this week. It means I really need to get back to it tonight, because I didn't work on it yesterday because I was driving for most of the day. And then I came back here and I hadn't brought any spinning with me. Like I have an e-spinner that I can bring with me on trips, but I hadn't brought it. I would have if I'd like thought about going to Vermont, but I hadn't thought about going to Vermont that seriously. I'd like considered it, but I didn't know. Yeah, I considered like going to Toronto for a while, but I was like, my aunt's house is still being built, it's not done, so I would have had to like call up a bunch of friends, be like, can I stay at your house? And I was like, nah, I'll just go to Vermont and see my parents, because anyway, I could use a visit. So I don't even know why I was talking about that, but anyway, happy to have made some progress on that, because once that's done, I think I can probably like start something, another thing that's going to take a little bit more mental energy, like maybe a project with cables or something, which would be very exciting. Oh, right, spinning, duh. Right, so yesterday I got back and I spent a lot of time spinning. What else did I knit yesterday? Oh, and I cast something on, which I'll show you in a minute. But I was like, I finished a couple of whips while I was gone. I deserve a new cast on, so. Anyway, okay, so the Fair Isle. Lots of progress, very pleased about that. Excited. I love the colors so much, and I think I'm gonna wear a lot this fall and winter and forever and ever, because I'm a huge fan. So I finished my July socks. This is the first pair of socks all year that I haven't finished within the month that I started them. So that's like slightly embarrassing, but that's okay. You know what? Sometimes it happens, and it was just like the easiest, also was like the easiest pair of socks that I've knitted all year, and so that was why I was embarrassed. But I'm just taking out stitch markers out of these. They are done. They're fun. I mean, it's not something where it's like I feel like I need to write the pattern. It's more of a like, this is a fun thing you can do with the you know, like colored dip dyed yarn. So that's what I did here. So the bottom is just knitted, because this is the bottom of the foot, but on the leg and the whole front, I like just, whenever I got to the stitches on the needles that were a different color, I purled them. And they're fun, and my mom said she liked them, so she'll probably get them for Christmas. So I haven't blocked these yet, but they were fun. And one thing that I thought of, I mean, I think of all sorts of things that I don't end up doing, but this is something that I was like, maybe I actually will do that. I thought I have so much like leftover sock yarn, and I just thought it would be really fun to like, I mean, yeah, I could literally knit like another pair of socks with a lot of the yarn, but I was thinking it would be really fun to knit like a pair of scrappy socks every single month. That would be like very, it wouldn't be time consuming at all, because a stripe on a sock takes like 10 minutes, but it would be one of those like consistency things where like I have to do it every day on 2 socks. And I thought it would be fun. I don't know, maybe I'll just like do it and then give them to my family members for Christmas or something, but that would be like a fun way to use my just like all the scraps that I have, or just challenge myself like to knit, I don't know, like 1 month, just do 1 pair of scrappy socks, see if I like it, who cares, and just do that like once a year. I don't know, but the problem is the sock leftovers build up really a lot, so hard to do that. I feel like I would have to have like a challenge myself to just like have a year where I only use leftover sock yarn. That's actually a good idea. Or like 6 months where it's like you gotta knit your socks every month, but you can only use that bag of leftover sock yarn. So there probably are some like balls that are 50 grams still, where I could like eke out a pair of socks with different colored heels and toes, and that would be great. And then like some months I might have to do scrappy socks, and some months I'd have to do shorties, and like it would just be creative. It would be different. I love to give myself creative challenges with socks, so we'll see. But the other thing I finished which I'm really pleased about. And then I promise I'll show you my August socks, which I have started. As I finished this John Arbon cowl, finally. I'm really excited that I'm done with this because it's super cozy and fun. I'm excited to have it done. I need to block it and then Kitchener stitch it together with a twist in the middle. But I just think it's fun. I said to Monica something like, oh, I would love to knit this again during like Advent and knit like two, you know, like 2 little things a day, or just like 1 a day, however many. I would have to like count them up. Or maybe do like a double length cowl and knit like 2 or 3 or 4 little snowflakes a day with a different color during Advent. And Monica looked at me and went, that's my worst nightmare. And I was like, okay, well, we're different. That's okay. But this is really soft. This is knitted in John Arbon Harvest Hues. I think I talked about it a bunch like earlier this spring when I was working on it. But this is the second version of this cowl that I've knitted. The other one I would show to you, but I gave it to Monica. I did it in like white palette, Knit Picks palette with rainbow handspun as the little flowers. I just thought it was like a nice way to use mini skeins. This would be something I could knit with my leftover sock yarn, actually. Things like this, especially in color work. And I could use different fingering weight yarn that isn't sock yarn, like handspun or, you know, like single ply. I could use, this is a great scrappy project. That was kind of the idea, was like John Arbon had the new Harvest Hues and I thought that was really cool. And I was interested in like how you could play with mini skeins. But also I just thought like a lot of knitters have so many scraps, or like, you know, a plethora of Fair Isle colors that they're like, what the heck am I supposed to do with all this? And this is a fun way to play with colors. You could do it all in 1 color or 2 colors, or you could do every single snowflake a different color, or you could do like monochrome. So you have like a bunch of purples and you do all purples. I just think there's a lot of ways to play with creativity here with this kind of simple motif. And I am happy that it's done because again, anything that's not done just takes up space in the brain a little bit. You know what I mean? So that's good. And yeah, I would just like to, like, in the fall, it'd be really fun to be able to, like, start a brand new thing. What if that happened? Sitting there looking at my neon Archie lunches. Oh, can you see it? Oh, Felicity's in the way. Felicity, get out of the way. There's my neon Archie. There. Yeah, so I really want to knit a sweater with that this fall, but I also want to knit a sweater with stash yarn, and I think I've decided what to do with the neon Archie, and it's to make the Isabel Kramer sweater. It's called like Fiola or something, and it's pretty plain. It's like a V-neck, and it has like a little bit of lace at the V here, like at the top of the V. And then it's just like a plain sweater, but the sleeves have lace like down the, like panels down the sides. I think my Aunt Carrie might have knitted it, or she told me that she wanted to knit it like last year, but I don't know if she ever did. So anyway, yeah, just like the fewer things I have on the needles, the more space is in my brain to think about new cast-ons. And also I just like I have a lot to do. So it's nice to just have a few things where you know, I mean, because I run, I have to enforce rest time for myself. So it's actually really nice that I'm a knitter, I will say. Like, it's really nice because I have something that I want to do while I'm resting, which not all people have who run or are athletes, and a lot of people find rest really hard. And I do find it hard to, like, you know, obviously I'm like this kind of person, like I'm like I need to be doing something all the time, but I do like to knit, and I like to like watch TV and stuff and spin, and it's like, well, I kind of have to be still-ish except spinning, but you're really just you're not moving your body enough that it's like not, you know, allowing yourself to rest. So I feel lucky that I have these hobbies because I get to like do something productive with my rest time, and it makes me look more look forward to rest time. But also, it's like this happened with the Lina challenge, which I still would like to do. I just don't like want to be casting on all these sweaters right now. But it was kind of like, yeah, it's nice to just not have to think about like, what do I want to knit on right now? Like that's the thing that like the decision fatigue that just is like, well, sometimes, because if that happens, sometimes I'm like, well, I don't want to knit anything. I can't decide. So having like 1 or 2 kind of whips, or maybe 3, gives me a little bit like more just easy to choose projects to work on. Or, you know, even if something is a big like cable project or something that takes a long time, just sitting down and knit 2 rows every day feels, you know, it's slow moving, but eventually it gets done. So who cares? Anyway, so cowl done, socks done. I got some FOs. That's good. I'm excited about that. And my Fair Isle is definitely I've got some progress made on it. So, then I started my August socks finally on like the 8th of August, a couple days ago. So this is what I unwrapped. I didn't show this because I didn't make a video for like weeks. So it was this mohair, which is actually quite a thick mohair. Just there's like a lot of like filaments on it. So it's not, the core is not thick, but the mohair itself is sort of more, there's just more, like there's more body than there usually is on a mohair. I don't know what it is, but like, I don't know if it was my mom's or if someone gave it to me. I knitted like a little tiny, like a love note for like a 2-year-old with it once. It came out bigger than I anticipated. The 2-year-old wore it until she was like 5, which was fun. And then this. And so I thought I would riff on my March socks. I wonder if that's why I decided to name them after Jo March, the Jo March socks, because it was the month of March. I don't know. But I was like, okay, well, I always thought that the socks that I designed for Amy March should be kind of a riff on the Jo socks, because if you've ever read Little Women, Amy is kind of like obsessed with doing what Jo does, but like, you know, she has to do it a little differently because she's a different person. She's also an artist. She's like, she does have some originality. So I thought it would be really fun to do like in a perfect world, the Amy socks, and maybe I'll do this with another sample of them sometime, would be to use just a white yarn as the base and then change the color of the mohair stripe every time there's a new stripe. But so the Jo socks, actually, I'm just gonna grab them because they're right here. You can see them. They were just like, also mohair moment here. Just gonna tuck the ends in. I should really just trim them because they are blocked. And so the socks have these like little mohair racing stripes, and then I held the mohair with the heel and the toe. One more stripe before the toe. And so to kind of riff on these for Amy's, I thought I'm gonna do them shorter. And these are really fun, actually. They're gonna be, so I'm almost all the way already to the heel. But yeah, the mohair is thick and you can really tell it's like puffing out at these stripes. If I had like considered this further, I might have like taken out 4 or 8 stitches, but I didn't. Doesn't matter. They'll just be nice. Like I can give them to someone with wide feet. That'll be fun. So yeah, these are, I think that this is actually really fun. This mohair is not that easy to work with though, because it's so thick and the needles are really small. So I'm not like loving the knitting of it. I did this just in one evening the other night. I haven't picked them up since, so I should probably get to that. I really thought like one of the like rules I gave myself at the beginning of the challenge was like, you have to knit on the socks every day of the month until they're done. Totally haven't done that, but whatever. It doesn't matter. They'll get done. So I'm actually really liking this pair of socks. I need to do the heel. The heel and toe will not have mohair held with them, but the stripe sequence is going to continue down the whole foot. So that's the Amy March socks. She's dramatic and she likes to make a splash. This color could have also been good for Lydia Bennett, but I thought Amy March would, you know, she's the youngest. She needs to be the center of attention. What better to do that with these than with these colors? And there's still plenty of this guy left. So this is gonna have to go in my leftovers bag. Ooh, just missed. In the leftovers bag. Okay, and then these guys will go in here. All right, so socks. Yeah, this is what I'm gonna bring with me to Washington this weekend. So I might actually try to not work on them too much because I do have a flight and I'll be traveling a little bit in Washington. Might have some downtime. I hope not to have too much downtime because I would, well, unless I'm just sitting around talking with my cousins and my relatives. But yeah, that's good. I don't know why I threw that in the blocking bin. The socks are what has to go in the blocking bin. Okay. So what else? Okay. So I decided that I had like a handle on my whips yesterday, and I thought I wanted to cast on another sweater because I have this sweater. I've probably talked about it before. I might even have shown it. It's from Fair Isle Weekend. What's it called? Okay, I'm just gonna get this book. I could just show you the sweater, but I'm not positive where it is. It's probably under my bed somewhere, and it would take me like a while to dig it out, so I'm gonna not deal with that. It's called Lower Low. I think that's how you pronounce that word. Yeah. So it's this sweater with a Fair Isle band on the bottom, and it is knitted. It has a V-neck in the front and drop, yeah, it's a lower, but they say lower low, pronounced low, like L-E-O-G-H, pronounced low, so lower low. There's MJ wearing it, and here's the spread with it. It's really cute. So I made this in the colors that, the original colors. This is knitted in Jamieson's of Shetland Spindrift. So I used Jamieson & Smith Jumper Weight Supreme in like a slightly darker gray than this. This is like a very, very, very light gray. Mine is a little bit more of a medium gray. But then I did use red, yellow, and blue for those bands. And when I finished it, I thought maybe even before I finished it, like I should give this to Baba, my grandmother. But I wanted to wait to give it to her until I had a sweater for my grandfather also. So I had planned, I got some Lamb's Pride worsted seconds at Rhinebeck last year. This was the main color that I liked. This is Driftwood. Lamb's Pride is a great yarn. It's actually like the yarn I used when I was learning to knit. That's how far back Lamb's Pride and I go. But this was like, yeah, it was $4.95. So I didn't know what was wrong with it, but I was like, whatever, it won't matter that much. It doesn't. It's a little, reason it's, I assume the reason it's seconds is because it's overplied. But it's a single ply yarn anyway, so it's not really a big deal. Then it'll relax when you block it anyway. So Lamb's Pride, if you have not ever knitted with it, there's a worsted and a bulky. It's made by Brown Sheep Company in Nebraska, and it is 85% wool and 15% mohair, and it's single ply. So you can see there. It's really shiny and beautiful. I made Monica a sweater in Lamb's Pride like 5 years ago. And it didn't really pill. It's like got a nice mohair halo. It looks lovely. I mean, she knows how to take care of it because she's a knitter, but like, yeah, it's lovely. She looks great in it. She wears it all the time. But anyway, I decided to make a Radari sweater, which is a very classic. I don't have the pattern with me here, but it's a very, I'll put the link to the Radari sweater in the show notes. Classic Lopi pattern. And my contrast colors are these, so you can see them all together. I was a little worried that the two browns wouldn't have enough contrast. This is, by the way, Driftwood. This one is Oatmeal, and this one is Blue Blood Red. So, but I was worried there wouldn't be enough contrast between these two browns, but there is. It's no problem. I'm a little afraid I'm going to run out of the oatmeal color, but I don't think that will matter because I can get another one. And the way that the Radari yoke is done, I wouldn't have to like knit one round with this and then like the next round would have to be with a different dye lot. Like there would be like space in between, so you might not be able to tell there were different dye lots or that there was a huge difference in the colors. Anyway, my grandfather won't care. So I started with a sleeve, about halfway done with the sleeve yesterday. So yeah, I can like tell there's inconsistencies in the yarn because my stitches aren't all exactly the same size, which again, I know that I'm probably my harshest critic. Like when I hold it up, I'm like, oh, that looks pretty good. But yeah, I can tell I'm like, oh yeah, it's like really twisted here. That stitch looks bigger. It doesn't matter at all. My grandfather will not care. I don't really care. But yeah, just a little color work moment at the cuff. I don't think I'm going to do this on the hem, even though it's called for in the pattern, just because then I won't use quite as much of this and I may only need one skein and not have to buy another one. So I think it will suit him, and that I will have it done pretty quickly. And it's just because it's worsted weight, I'm using pretty big needles, that this yarn kind of flies in my hands. It's kind of like Lopi because it's single ply. Lopi also flies when I knit it. So I anticipate, but I really want to knit that Fair Isle sweater this week too. I don't know. Maybe I'll split my time tonight, finish the band of that Fair Isle sweater, and then I will spend the rest of the evening working on this sleeve. See, it doesn't matter, but it's like how soon I finish this sleeve or this sweater, but it is satisfying to knit a sweater that doesn't take very long after or while you're working on a sweater that does take a lot of mental energy, a lot of time, like a Fair Isle piece. This is a color work, this will be a color work yoke sweater, but a lot of that knitting is going to be vanilla. And then I do think that the nice thing about a bottom up sweater is that the Fair Isle is the fun part, and so you just knit the body and the sleeves in there they're in 3 pieces, which is nice because they're portable. You can take them around with you and work on them at your leisure or leisure. One time someone corrected me, this a couple years ago, when I think I said athleisure, and she was like, laughed at me like in a rude way, someone who, I don't want to say this in a mean way, someone who does not, whose parents do not have PhDs in English from Princeton, let's say that, which is a horrible thing to say, but my parents both do. She like laughed at me and like was like, I think it's pronounced athleisure. And I was like, oh my God, have you never been out of this country? I tried like as nice as I could. I was like, oh, I think, you know, in Canada and England, they would say the word leisure. I have lived in Canada. I am Canadian. I am also a singer, and I'm sure that if you've ever been in a choir, you'd pronounce that word leisure. I think if you were singing it, I don't know if I've ever sung that word in a like piece of church music, but I'm quite sure that a conductor would ask you to pronounce it leisure. I don't know. This is a debate, but I think in the US people do say leisure. I almost never say that. I would say leisure. Like it's like saying sorry, like, which I also say. So anyway, I was really like miffed when that person did that. I was like, oh, excuse me, who do you think you are? Like, but I was like, don't get annoyed about this, but I'm like, oh, that has stayed with me. I'm still like, I think it was rude that person did that. Doesn't matter. But yeah, so anyway, I'm working on this new sweater, and I'm excited about that. And anyway, then you finish, to continue what I was saying earlier, getting better at this, or I'm trying. You then, the fun part is at the end, and so you knit the fun color work, and then it's like done. You just have to Kitchener stitch the underarms together, weave in your ends, and block it, and it's all done. So that's fun. I always add short rows to these sweaters. Also, when I'm finished with the yoke, I change to the whichever color I'm going to finish it in, so the main color or the oatmeal, depending on, I don't know. And then do some short rows at the back of the neck just to make it more obvious which way it's the back, and so that it doesn't ride up so much on your neck. And then, yeah, then you just do a little 1x1 ribbing and you're done. Just gotta block it. So it's a nice quick project for me as a quick knitter, someone who's very comfortable with knitting yokes, all that kind of thing. It just feels good to just get something, like, it feels productive because you have a thing that's a sweater that someone will wear and enjoy, you know? It's like when you knit a lot of things with teeny little needles, it's nice to have something that's a little bit quicker, using a size 6 needle, which is something I don't do very often, so it feels good. But yeah, okay, so spinning. So I haven't been spinning, obviously, because I've been away, but yeah, I'm working on, okay, where do I start here? So I was planning to make a pressed flowers cardigan. I still am. I'm excited about that. The pressed flowers cardigan with, okay, move. Come on, Felicity, what are you doing? I know, oh, well, it's my fault. I can't move. The rug is being trapped by the wheel of this chair. Okay, so with this like mohair merino. I think it's mohair, yeah, 60% mohair, 40% merino. This is from a farm in Vermont. I've tried to like find their store. They do not really have an online store. I will probably not be linking this in the show notes, but you can visit www.yellowdogfarmvt.com. But I don't know if they really sell their yarn online. I got this in a store. It smells good. It smells like jasmine wool wash because it was next to the Neon Archie skeins, which I washed with jasmine wool wash. So I was planning to knit the this for the contrast and do some more skeins of this. I have a big old bag of neon scraps. But then I started to spin, and sometimes I start a spin and I'm like, okay, well, I'll just do like, you know, a 2-ply of this and it'll be great, a fractal. But I have a lot of skeins that are like that, of hand spun. As fun as they are, I'm like, there's just one skein. It's not always like obvious what I'm supposed to do with this. Like if it were a 2-ply, then I could have like 200 grams because this, you know, braid of fiber is 100 grams or whatever. So I talked about this last time, but it's this Paint by Number merino, or no, it's Targhee Bamboo Viscose Tussah Silk top. So it looks like this. It's really fun. There's like blue, a little bit of light blue, and then like this kind of coppery, darker brown, and then some greens. I really like this. And so I started spinning this on my e-spinner thinking I would do a 2-ply. And then after a couple of, you know, hours spinning, I was like, actually, it would be really nice if I applied this with something else. So then I thought this would be good for the pressed flowers with this. I mean, there's some dark spots in this, so I would have to do something pretty bright for at least one of the other plies. And then I thought, okay, well, I could do another ply of the neon greens. There's so much random neon green fiber. Like I can make lots of skeins of yarn of the neon green fractal, fun fractal stuff. So not a problem. And then I thought, well, maybe I could even do a 3-ply, and that would probably get me closer to this like DK-ish weight. This is a 2-ply, but who cares? So the plan now is to do a 3-ply. The first bobbin of that, which is I'm probably like halfway to 2/3 done, which is good. I spent some nice time doing that yesterday when I got back, spinning in my bed after driving a long way. And then I have the neon, which will be another bobbin. And then I think, because the neon is so bright, I think I can probably get away with this braid of Cheviot from, this is from Rhinebeck, but I think it's Into the World is the company that dyes this. Oh, I can't, it's like Overstory or Understory is like the name of the colorway. It's Cheviot, I know that. And it's Into the World, and I love this, so I'm excited about this. I think it'll be an interesting blend, that's for sure. Because Cheviot's, I'm thinking like I'm not married to this as the 3rd ply. I have a couple of other options. I have some mohair merino that's like greens, but they're not as fun, and I would like to do all the bobbins like in color change, you know, hand dyed fiber like this. So I have a couple of other options, like I said, but this one is my favorite, although I think there might be too much dark in this. Like it kind of brings this out, and like I will say it won't matter as much because it's going to be plied with neon green and also another colorway that like is mostly lighter colors that would show up. So I have to like give it some more thought. This would be the 3rd like bobbin I spun anyway, so I need to like give it a little bit more thought. Maybe I don't know. Yeah, I've got lots of fiber, but you know, would want it to be 100 grams. I could also dye another braid of fiber. I totally have plenty of fiber that I could dye. Let's be honest. So I might just like have some fun with the dyes and do another random 3-ply braid of like blues. And I thought about even doing another one of the plies as like pinks and reds and orange, just because I thought that would be really fun, or like another ply in rainbow, because I have a braid of Falkland that's just like straight up rainbow. I also have a braid of, oh, actually this wouldn't be the worst. It's Cormo. Cormo and Targhee would go well together, and it's like lighter colors. I don't know. I like the idea now that I've talked myself into it of dyeing 100 grams. Oh, I like that idea so much. So maybe I'll do that. I have some Shetland. I have some Dorset Horn. I don't know. I have a bunch of stuff, honestly. So that's not a bad idea. But anyway, I digress. The other thing that I've been working on is the Targhee spin. So again, not the first time I've talked about this. I have like a huge bag of Targhee that I dyed blue. Some of it is very like white and blue, and some of it is much more uniform, like this. There's like 1.5 pounds of this. There's so much. I got it at Rhinebeck last year, and it was undyed, and I dyed it myself because it's a lot less expensive to do that. Sorry, I don't think I was very articulate when I said that. Oh, this fell. What's this? Oh, this is that brown hand spun skein I did earlier this summer. Okay, but anyway, I don't know if I showed this. This is the first skein of that Targhee. So I'll show it to you now. I'm planning on knitting Andrea Mowry's Traveler hoodie with this yarn. I am spinning it woolen on Felicity, the Ashford Trad. Another big bobbin is on, can you see this? If I turn it, okay, there you go. You can see that bobbin. I don't think you can see that the bobbin is almost full, but the bobbin is almost full, which is exciting. Then I will spin another bobbin, and then I will apply them together and have another skein. So that skein will be bigger because this one, I only had like 2/3 of each bobbin full. Just because I wanted to see, I was impatient to ply it. Shock. I know that I was impatient to do anything. So yeah, I guess also I'm still working on this shawl. I haven't probably worked too much more on it since I last showed it, but this is a Stephen West shawl, the botanical shawl, knitted in Wool of the Andes Sport in Midnight Heather. Yeah, very almost like blackish kind of teal. And then this is this ball of Archie that I spun last summer. Yeah, Archie's 2022 clip. So that's fun. Yeah, so that's pretty much all what I've been working on. There's a lot of it. Oh, also one more thing. My mom's friend Hillary came over the other day and gave me this kit, which is really cute. She said it was Laura Nelkin 2021. This kit for these little mitts, which is super cute. I've never actually done anything with beads before, and I'm excited to try it. So it's just like a little kit with beads and then a skein of Exmoor sock, which is great yarn that I love. This is John Arbon. I haven't even mentioned this in this episode because it has been relevant, but you can get John Arbon at the Woolly Thistle if you're in the US. I am an affiliate of the Woolly Thistle. So like up there will be like an affiliate link. John Arbon is great. They're mill in the UK in Devon. Like, they're amazing. I mean, I've talked about John Arbon because I talked about my cowl, but you can't, Harvest Hughes is not a commercially available yarn. You can only get it directly from John Arbon. Maybe they're gonna, I think they're planning on being commercially available, but I don't know if they are yet. And if they are, it might just be in the UK. But the Exmoor sock is a sock yarn. It has nylon. It's 60% Exmoor Blueface, which is a cross between an Exmoor Horn and a Blueface Leicester. They also sometimes call it an Exmoor Mule because it's a cross between two sheep. 20% Corriedale, 10% Swartbles, 10% nylon. The Swartbles makes it a little murky, like a darker, pretty kind of darker color. I have knitted a couple of pairs of socks with Exmoor sock, and I love it. It's cozy. It's toothy, but like John Arbon has a few yarns that are a little less toothy, like Devonia is pretty soft. There's some long wool. The Knit by Numbers is soft. Harvest Hughes is pretty soft. All those yarns are great. You can get Yarnadelic, which is 100% Corriedale, and Devonia and Exmoor sock. All at the Woolly Thistle for sure. I can't remember if there's any other. The Knit by Numbers used to be commercially available, but then they changed the the composition of it used to be all merino, and now it's like half merino, half BFL, and I don't know if they have like made it their wholesale it yet. So I don't know, but anyway, the Woolly Thistle is great. Oh, I mean, I should have said, I don't think I talked about the yarns that I used in this. I am using a mix of Jamieson's Spindrift, Jamieson's of Shetland Spindrift. This is the colorway Mermaid, for instance. And then Jamieson & Smith 2-ply jumper weight. I use these yarns interchangeably all the time. You can. A lot of people are wondering, like, why are they both called Jamieson, but they're different? I guess that's just a popular name in Scotland or Shetland. Jamieson & Smith is the more commercially available. They are like a much bigger operation, and they're spun on the mainland, but it is all like Shetland wool from Shetland, and they're like based in Lerwick, I guess. And then Jamieson's of Shetland is milled in the only mill left on Shetland, which is in Sandness. But they both are kind of similar. Like, they make 25-gram balls of jumper weight wool, which is, I find that Jamieson's of Shetland is a little bit more loosely plied. If you want to know the difference, I like them both equally. I use them interchangeably because then you have more colors to choose from. So yeah, that's my spiel on this. You can get both of these yarns at the Woolly Thistle if you are in the US, or anywhere. They'll ship to you anywhere. But like, it's particularly convenient if you're in the US. And you can also get Jamieson & Smith on cones. I have a bunch of cones up there, and not all of those are Jamieson & Smith cones, but a good deal of them are. The dark blue cone is a frangipani cone, which is a Guernsey wool that you can also get, at the Woolly Thistle. That one. Oh my gosh, I can't, that one right there. The mirror is hard. Okay, so yeah, I haven't been reading that much. I thought I would read more because I was like away, and especially the first week I was away, I was like on actual vacation. I didn't read that much because the Olympics were on, so I've been watching a lot of the Olympics. I did, but I had some audiobooks queued up for my car rides. I listened to a lot of Little Women. My mom had Little Women on Audible, and it was like a production, so like different people voice all the different characters, which is kind of cool. It's narrated by Laura Dern, who played the Marmee, their mom, the girl's mom in the 2019 movie, but she doesn't do the Marmee voice, which is kind of funny. She's just the narrator. If you haven't seen the 2019 Little Women, you should watch it, because wow, I sobbed during that movie the first time I saw it. It is so good and so sad. And I've decided to design socks based on the girls, the Little Women, the 4 sisters, the March sisters. But I listened to a lot of that in the car. I didn't finish it, but I mean, I have read it, but not since I was like in 6th or 7th grade. So it's funny, like my mom, I feel like my mom told me she never read Little Women because she said it was the Anne of Green Gables for girls who grew up in America, in the US. And she was like, I grew up in Canada, so we had Anne of Green Gables, and I definitely read Anne of Green Gables. I read like at least the first 3 or 4 of those, because there's like 8 books from Anne of Green Gables. But I did enjoy those when I was growing up. Little Women I definitely read at least once, probably in 6th or 7th grade, but it was not as much a staple of my childhood as Anne of Green Gables. Yeah, and Anne of Green Gables, there was a movie, was like one of those really long movies where there were 2 cassettes. And then there was that show, Anne with an E. I actually liked Anne with an E. My mom did not like Anne with an E. But I liked it a lot, actually. It's on Netflix, so we were divided on that issue. But yeah, and then for the car ride on Saturday, I felt like a little bit of a dirtbag doing this, but then I was like, you know what, I don't care. Because I liked season 3 of Bridgerton so much. Like, I watched seasons 1 and 2, and I was like, okay, fine, like, whatever. Like, I kind of rolled my eyes at them, but I thought season 3 of Bridgerton was so good because, and I've said this before, like, they followed those characters all the way through. Like, you watch Penelope be, like, so obsessed with Colin for, like, season 1 and season 2, and you love her so much. And then in season 3, like, they finally get together. It's like, oh my God. So like that's their season. And so I was like, well, I loved this season of Bridgerton so much, like I should listen to the book. And I didn't even consider like going to the beginning of the Bridgerton books and like listening all the way through because I was like, I don't think it matters. Like, I'm sure the series doesn't follow them exactly, but I'm sure that I understand enough about this world. It'd be like watching a Harry Potter, you know, or it'd be like reading the 6th Harry Potter book after reading the first 5 or something. Like, you know what's kind of happened, even if you're missing some of the stuff, or like some things are different. So I decided to read the one about Colin and Penelope. I don't know which one that is, like which number that is in the Bridgerton series. I don't care. But I was like, this season was so good. It was really different. Like, it's kind of interesting because like the famous scenes that are like in the show are really different. Like, they happen in like the carriage scene and like the scene where they kiss and like whatever, that's in the book, but they're very different. And like the whole like thing that happens like in the, like a lot of the plot is different in the show versus in the book, which I thought was interesting. And it was better than I thought. Like, it wasn't like that trashy. And I'm like, I hope I didn't offend anyone because I called the Bridgerton books dirtbag if you've read them, because they're not that dirtbag. Like, it was okay. I haven't finished it. I'm like almost at the end, but I did really like, I didn't get into it right at the beginning of my drive because I left really early, and I listened to it for like an hour, but then I started to get sleepy because it was like 6:30 in the morning. So I had to listen to music and like podcasts that were like more mentally stimulating. When I get tired in the car, I always put music on that I want to sing along to. And I feel like some people would think that was distracted driving. I'm so used to singing in the car, and also I'm a professional singer. So like, I think that it doesn't take up a lot of space in my brain to sing and also drive. Like, I can keep my thoughts on the road, but I also drive a lot. Like, I've knock on wood, I've never gotten in an accident. And I'm a good, safe driver. So I'm like, I think singing just is what I do to stay awake. But so when I start to get sleepy, I always put music on and I sing. But yeah, it's just like, that's what happens when you drive alone a lot, because you don't have someone to talk to. Like, I'm driving to DC all the time, all that. I often talk to people on the phone when I'm driving to DC in traffic. I'll call people to see, like, my dad. I'll call my mom. I'll call a couple of other people, but I tend to sing when I get sleepy. So then I would like put Bridgerton back on, and then I put music back on, and I like went back and forth. But once I got really into it, like the last few hours of the drive when I was more awake, because it was like midday, I was like, oh wow, I want to keep listening to this. And I listened to it for like the whole rest of the day once I got home, and I listened to it on the way back from church this morning. So that was fun. I am almost done with that, but I'm like, I don't know if I'm going to continue. Maybe I will. Maybe I'll like listen to the rest of them, but I'm not as invested in those characters. So like, I'm like, I don't really care about Daphne as much. Oh, whatever. Anthony, whatever. I did like those seasons. They were fine. And then I was like, well, I guess then I'll know if I read all of them or listen to all of them. A, they're entertaining. I get them from the library, so they're free. You know, you just check them out from the like library using the like Libby or Hoopla or whatever. And then I'll like know what to like. I'll have listened to the books for the next Bridgerton seasons, and I'll be like, oh, how faithful were they to the books? So that'll be fun. Although they kind of crammed Francesca and Colin and Penelope all into this one, so that's interesting. So I'll have to listen to the book about Francesca to see how much more they give to that story, I guess, because it was kind of secondary situation going on in season 3 this past season. Anyway, I watched a ton of Olympics, and I'm a huge fan of women's gymnastics. Big, huge Simone Biles fan. I was very, followed all that drama with the girl on Twitter who was like, they're lazy and there's a lack of talent, and then they like won the team gold, and I was like, so lazy, so much lacking in talent. So that was amazing to watch the team gold, and then I watched all around competition. I loved that Simone had a little bit like of someone kind of coming up behind her this year. It was great, and all those girls, women, they're all women, they're all in their 20s, for Pete's sake, had like overcome so much injury and mental health, and Suni had that kidney infection. They did so well. It was really exciting to watch. And watched a lot of swimming because we were in Canada, and Summer McIntosh, the Canadian woman, is a great swimmer, so we watched a lot of her races. And then when track and field started, it's pretty much my whole, Olympic experience since has just been watching track and field. Although my parents and I watched some of the climbing. We watched speed climbing. We watched a little bit of lead climbing. And we, of course, watched Ray Gunn do her breakdancing. If you missed this, so I'm like chronically on Twitter still. I know a lot of people are like way off Twitter, but Twitter still has, or X or whatever you want to call it, still has so much funny content for people my age who are just tweeting memes. Like, and so there'll just be like I know so much about what happened at the Olympics because of the memes. Like men's gymnastics, Steven Netarasic, pommel horse guy, Mr. Pommel Horse. The meme of him like sleeping like that was so good. He was so cute with his Rubik's Cube and his like cat with the matching pajamas. Oh, he was so great. Very wholesome. So like the biggest things on Twitter have been like, there was like the video of Simone Biles talking to somebody and then like she goes like that. That was on Twitter a lot. And then of course the Australian breakdancer Ray Gunn, who it was kind of sad, like, but it was so funny. Like sometimes people tweet things like, it would be so nice to have a normal person competing at the Olympics so you know how good everyone is. And that was sort of what happened. Like she was just kind of like a normal person who couldn't really break dance. Someone in my choir and I were having this discussion. She said to me, I don't know why they call it breaking and not breakdancing. We all know it's breakdancing, but like they don't have, she said, she thought, I don't know if this is true, and she didn't know if this is true, but she was like, I'm 80% sure it's because they can't have dance at the Olympics, and so they can't call it breakdancing because it's dancing. So they call it breaking. If you know why it's called breaking, let us know in the comments, and I will let Susanna know at choir on Tuesday. Because we need to know, and I apparently can't Google it. So I will forget to Google it. That, like, let's be honest. So anyway, Rachel Gunn, a professor of anthropology or something, sociology, whatever, in Australia. It's like, you know, 36 years old and breaking against doing these battles against these like incredible European 14-year-olds who are just like unbelievable breakdancers. And this poor woman is like doing, I mean, there's so many videos of it. So if you haven't seen it, just Google Ray Gunn, like RAYGUN breakdancing or Olympics or Australia or whatever, and you will see. I mean, it would be, if I tried to breakdance, that's what it would look like. I mean, truly, it was really, I felt like really bad for her because I was like, well, the whole world is laughing at you right now and like mocking you. But I was also like really impressed that she did that. Like she studies breakdance culture, which I think is really cool. Like she's a professor and that's what she studies. And I was like, that's kind of awesome. Like you just put yourself out there. Like and it was entertaining, obviously. I didn't want to laugh, but I was like, I can't not laugh at this. Like, it's so funny. But also she was like clearly so brave to do it. And I really admired that too. So I think I don't want to be mean about it. I'm like, oh man, it was funny. But also I want to be like, she was brave to do that. I truly believe that. So that's fun. And track, wow. Oh my gosh. So many great moments. So many funny moments in track and field, but also, wow. So also the women's marathon was this morning. It's Sunday. I'm recording this on Sunday evening. And I have not looked at Twitter all day because I have no idea what the results are. So I don't know if I'm gonna go and like watch the coverage on NBC because I really want to hear Kara and Des do the commentary. Kara Goucher and Des Linden are two. Well, Des Linden is still a professional runner. Kara Goucher used to be a professional runner. But she retired because she has one of those problems where it's like it has to do with your brain, but she can't feel like when she hits the ground with one of her legs. It's called like dysphonia or something. So she can't run professionally anymore, but she's a commentator for NBC. And she's been commentating the whole time at the Olympics, and Des Linden has just been hanging out. And they have a podcast together because they're friends. Des Linden is the 2018 Boston Marathon female champion who like was the first American woman to win the Boston Marathon in like 35 years or 33 years or something. She won it in a like huge nor'easter rainstorm kind of thing. It was crazy. But they're amazing. They're so funny. Their podcast is really funny, although it's not, it's good if you like running. Because they just talk about like running culture and stuff. And they've been doing podcast episodes like every day of the Olympics to talk about track and field. And I love listening to them, but not for everyone. Also, they curse all the time. If you don't like that, don't listen to them. But Kara has been commentating throughout the whole Olympics on the distance event, so she was part of the marathon commenting team. But then she kept saying on the podcast, like, we should get Des to do it. I wish you could do it with me. And then NBC was like, okay, fine, put Des Linden on the call. Like, let's just let her call the marathon too. So I really want to watch them both, like, call the marathon, and like watch the whole thing and like not know who wins. But I'm gonna have to stay off YouTube and like go on Peacock and like see if I can resist looking at the outcome. It'll probably be somewhere in the news. Like, I'll probably see it like on the internet on the way to watching the event on Peacock. But I'm sure an American probably did not win gold medal unless Fiona O'Keefe like came and took it, because she did great in that debut marathon at the trials. But we'll see. Okay, I'm gonna stop this because it's been an hour and I really want to watch that marathon now. Also, I watched Deadpool on Friday night with my parents, Deadpool and Wolverine, and that was also really funny. And I had not seen the first Deadpool movie, and my mom and I both hadn't seen it, and we felt like we only got about 10% of the jokes, but we still thought the movie was absolutely hilarious. Again, very dirty language, so if you're not into that, do not go watch Deadpool. But if you don't mind, or you seek that out, wow, that was a really funny movie. I was impressed. We were gonna go see Twisters, but it got reviewed in the New Yorker and it was not a very good review, so we were like, let's go see Deadpool instead. I'll probably still go see Twisters because the soundtrack was so good. If you don't like country music, do not listen to the Twisters soundtrack, but if you like country music, it is like phenomenal. And my whole family on my mom's side, my aunt had it, like she posted on Strava or something that she was listening to it, and I was like, I gotta listen to this, and I listened to it and I was like, Mom, you gotta listen to this, and she listened to it and now we're all into it. Yeah, so yeah, it was great. Great to get to talk to my aunt about marathon training because she's a big marathon runner, and start my block. So yeah, got a lot of running coming up this week as usual. But the nice thing about when marathon training starts is that you've already made your schedule, and so now all you have to do is execute it. So I find myself thinking about running a lot less now that the block has started. Like between training blocks is when I think more about running, because I'm like, which plan should I do? You know, I'm thinking about it, like thinking about my life in those 4 months, and all that. So I found myself thinking about it a lot, but now that it's kind of, the block has started, I'm just like, right, the plan is here and I just got to execute. And sometimes it's hard. Like this morning I had to roll out of bed at 6 a.m. and go just for like a 30-minute recovery run. As part of my plan, my aunt was kind of like, you should, you know, try and just get out the door for like 30 minutes the day after your long run. And usually that would be Saturday, but I actually did my long run on Friday this week because I was driving on Saturday. So did a long run on Friday, ran 10 miles. And then yesterday I ran before dinner, like in the evening. It was pretty hot, but I felt good. I actually ran pretty fast. My heart didn't get too high. I wore the wrong shoes. I didn't wear my recovery run shoes. I wore a pair of shoes that was too fun and I had to run faster. Fun fact about running shoes, some of them just make you want to run faster. And this morning I was really tired. My watch told me to do a recovery run, which is what I did. My watch told me to rest on Wednesday, the day after my interval workout this week, for the first time in months. It was like rest. I didn't rest because I had to do a recovery run. Because that's the whole point, is like getting ready to, or getting used to running on tired legs, like the day after a big workout, just do like a recovery run. So I actually managed to roll out of bed and get out the door for a half-hour run this morning before church. Because I thought, you know, if I don't do it today, I'm never going to do it on a Sunday again. And I'm really trying to just get up and go, do my half hour, 45 minutes, however much I'm feeling is, and I can't do a super long run because I do have to like come back, shower, and leave for church. But yeah, I did. Somebody in my choir was like, you went for a run this morning? And I was like, okay, I go for a run every morning though, so it's not as impressive as you think. But yeah, we have a lot of church this week. I said I was going to finish up, and now I'm not, because it's the Feast of the Assumption on Thursday. So Tuesday rehearsal, Thursday service, which I haven't done midweek since May. I don't think we've done, no, I don't think we did anything in June. Did we do something for the minor patronal? I think that was on a Sunday though, so we didn't do anything especially exciting. Yeah, so we were gonna sing the Jonathan Dove Mass, but that was really hard. You probably, if you don't know anything about church music, then you have no idea what I'm talking about. But that would have required an extra rehearsal last week. And so I'm glad that we didn't, because I got to stay at home for an extra couple days. But yeah, we're singing the Rheinberger Cantus Missae, which is a double choir mass, so 8 parts, which sounds like a lot, but whatever, you just get used to it. I haven't sung this mass. Oh no, I probably sang it in college. The first time I sang Rheinberger Cantus Missae was at the girls' chorister course that I used to go to. I used to work there actually for a long time in high school. I think I was 16. And that mass setting is so freaking good. It blew my mind. So I will put it in the show notes for you so you can watch it or listen to it if you want to listen to some Rheinberger sacred music. Rheinberger was a German composer in the like late 19th century, maybe early 20th century. Very like kind of Brahmsian, really like akin to Brahms, not quite pushing on Richard Strauss, but like you get some really fun chords, good, you know, good modulations. As a musicologist, I probably should be able to talk like more intelligently about music, and I don't. Someone asked me to start a blog about it like in my choir like recently, and I was like, no, I don't actually have anything intelligent to say about it except that it's good. So it's good. That's what I have to say, and it brings me joy. So I can't think of it as like a hard thing that is work, because then it takes up too much space in my brain, and I have so much in my life. If you could see what was in front of me right now, there's just crap everywhere. I mean, it's not crap, it's knitting stuff, but it's everywhere. I don't have enough room in my brain to make church music important right now. I mean, it is important because it brings me joy. That's pretty much it. I practice at home when I have to, but like mostly it just brings me joy. So anyway, I have to finish this now because I need to go watch the marathon. It's 5 o'clock and I have to make dinner. I don't know where Jordan is. I don't think she's been home for very much recently because I was away. She missed me. So she was like with her parents or her boyfriend, or I don't know where she was. But she has not returned yet. So I'm excited for her to get back because we have to catch up on many things. But anyway, this has gone on long enough, and thank you so much for watching. I will not be back next week probably because I'm coming back from Seattle on Monday on a red-eye Monday night. So I will see you in a couple of weeks. But this has been Tiny Desk Knitting with Emma. Bye!